Ladies and gentlemen, we have the new panel here. Hopefully this works. Actually, I need to make sure I save this because otherwise it won't work. Close that out. Unpause the redemption, so you know you can ask questions again, and then boom.
I am not Chris Roberts. Don't even ask.
He is not Chris Roberts. He's Chris Roberts of Nod. That's a difference. He's Kane. He's the love child of Chris Roberts and Kane. Welcome back to the second part of our 24-hour Doctors Without Borders stream. We raised an additional $100. Coffee donated $100, so we're at $400 out of $500 goal. If we reach our $500 goal, we'll kind of increase up. And I think I might start after at the end of this, during the question and answer session. CIG gave us 2 ships to give away, so I'm gonna give away those ships for so if we reach that $500 goal. Let's just say that we'll start one when we reach the $500 goal. They're starter ships. I think that one of them is a Avenger starter ship, and the other one's like a 100 IO starter ship. So, and I'll throw in my skins, all of the skins I currently have for subscribing for those ships as well. So you'll get those extra skins with them as well. So yeah, nice little bonus for that. So LTI, I think it might even be LTI package, but we'll see. All right, let's get started with introductions. Let's start with you, Massocast. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
I'm Masso. I am a co-host on Straight Outta Stanton podcast. That's kind of what I do. And yeah, I as far as what I'm doing Star Citizen right now, not really much. And from what we saw yesterday, it probably won't be for a while.
All right.
Just gonna start it off salty.
Start it off salty. Yeah, for those of you who hadn't catch the pre-part of this, it's gonna be a salty cast. This part of this is gonna be salty, so make sure you drink lots of water so you're hydrating. Sheg, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
Hey guys, I'm just Sheg. When I play Star Citizen, usually, I do everything. I try to do everything because the stuff that I want to do in Star Citizen is not yet in the game. Probably gonna, play a little bit with salvage when it comes out. But I'm super happy with like missions like delivery stuff, and exploration. I'm into that. But yeah, long time until that gets to playable stuff. Where you can find me, Twitch TV/JustCheg, and yeah, I am the other co-host of Straight Outta Stanton with Masso.
And also, no, bits don't count towards donation, y'all. You have to go through the link. !MSF. But thank you for the
You got me and Paul, who were on I'm Paul's moderator and this crap. Then you got you two at the bottom here, who are together with your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a lovely cut.
It's up versus down.
Diablos, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
I don't do much. No one knows me. You can find me on YouTube sometimes if I ever post videos again. Because I used to do a lot of time-lapse stuff because I enjoyed sitting there. But because oxygen and food, as long as you can sit in one spot, is about 3.5 hours, and some planets take 24 or 8 hours is the longest, I think, in current. I have no idea how long Crusader takes to rotate right now, but I haven't tested it. I also make suits of armor, helmets, and stuff for cosplay. As you can see, I have a selection behind me for some reason. So we got, this is the Paladin.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Defiance, which was helped with Combustible, who is in chat. They're in, you wouldn't notice them. They have a different name in this chat right now.
The Defiance is actually probably my favorite helmet in.
That is, but out of all the helmets I've made or helped make, that is the best looking one. It's funny thing is it's not even 2 scale compared to the game one. Then I've got, of course, the 101 issue, second placed issue is this one. I've got ones that I don't really show off that much, which is, of course, the Centurion.
And then you also have the bird.
Tavarin.
The bird helmet.
And then I've also got on the left here, I've got
the kitty helmet.
Yeah. the kitty helmet. Then I've got a couple unpainted and unmade ones, which is this is the one I've been wearing in game recently.
Yeah.
The ADF thing.
So yeah, Diablos makes a lot of helmets. He also makes a lot of cosplay. So he's won 2 of the last.
I came second this year.
Second this year. You were first the year before that, right? Or was it somebody else?
Yeah, before that.
Yeah.
It's because he can't win every time.
Well, the funny thing is, Kin Shadow came second last year, and he came first this year, and I came second last year, and yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. So yeah. So and here's the secret. All of the top cosplayer folks, they all talk with each other. They all know each other. In fact, what was the one that they refused to put up? Sleepless in Stanton.
Okay, so Sleepless in Stanton, right? Which is the all the guys in cosplay. One was made with the Defiance. So that was 2019 winners, 2020's winners, and 2021's winner of cosplay. So you had Solomute, who won in the Inquisitor set. Then you had My Defiance set, and you had the second place Kin Shadow set in that time.
Mm.
Also, that whole thing with the Sleepless in Stanton, those 2 guys actually went to 2018. Me and Paul. So remember when we were talking, Paul, at the front when they started the live stream. Those 2 were getting interviewed, and you see me and Paul. Paul's holding his helmet, and I'm holding the Defiance.
Yeah.
Defiance episode. So we're all on screen together, but me and Paul didn't realize they started the stream. I'm like, oh shit, the stream started together right inside.
Yeah. So, yeah. So Diablos won he won the worst ship in the game, an absolute garbage ship.
I actually said to Kin Shadow because we work together for stuff. I wanted to come second because the Redeemer is better than the Ares because I already own both Ares. I'm like, I don't care if I come second because it's a ship that's worth more. And then I come second. I'm like, yep, yeah, I don't care. You can have that first place 2021. I have first place 2020, and 2020 was a better year than 21. I can tell you that.
I just want to say, man, all the things that you do is freaking amazing, man. I mean, everyone who tries, and makes stuff, I really appreciate and admire that. Not only in Star Citizen, it's such a crafty thing to do. It's amazing. It's like, and the amount of time you guys invest into it, and it's really like cosplays on these conventions. They just make your eyes teary in a good way, and you're like, oh man, look at what people do for this. Being part of this community and game. It's just, yeah.
If anyone actually says like the fact I won today I won $350 USD of ships. These suits cost me over $1,000 each.
Yeah, they cost a lot of money.
Material costs without counting how much time it takes sanding it.
Yeah, he does it for fun.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, it's a hobby, right?
Yeah,
you gotta love it.
Yeah,
you do make people happy with it though, if for whatever it's worth,
I'm sure Diablos could make content on just how he makes all these props and stuff like that too, because he's got a fully working. You've got a fully working coda, not a coda. Yeah, coda.
No, it is a coda.
Oh, it's a coda.
Yeah, you got a fully working coda and a custodian, right?
So coda.
Yeah.
With each individual bullet, not
falling out.
It's 11 years old now, so the friction fit is kind of frictioned out.
Yeah.
I love how they reload that in real life. It's just in the game. It's just and the coda. Sorry, not the coda. I had everything prepared earlier. Is the
And I've heard it before. It actually clicks out. His gate's keeping up. You actually hear the and like that kind of stuff when it comes out there. So
yeah, it's a fully opening and
so.
Oh, I like how the magazine kind of opens up to.
It's magnet systems essentially. So I was working with Cabas, and you know how much time you sit in there working out something, and you just walk through Bunnings, which is Lowe's here. So it's our big hardware store, and you just look at stuff and like, yeah, would that work? Fuck it, let's get that and see if it works. Like
Yeah.
in the Defiance, it has these floating arms, and it's essentially a bolt in a screw and a bolt, and that's what's keeping it on. It screws in. Like,
You gotta go for looks and also functionality. So with that all being said, because we always like to talk a little bit about that, I do want to thank Captain Jade, TG Delta, Captain Jade for $20, TG Delta for $100, Areno for $20, and Feedman K for $20 for a total of $560 raised so far. So we'll give away at the question answer. We'll start that giveaway for for one of those. So, let's and make sure you're asking questions and using the little coin icon if you're asking questions. Let's get started with our discussions on your thoughts about Citizencon. I'm going to kind of sort of skip mine because I've already kind of talked about this, but I might go over it a little bit. Diablos, your goods and bads of Citizencon.
The goods is so I noticed a few things because I like the FPS gameplay in Star Citizen like a lot. So I in 2.6 I had about maybe 1,000 hours in 2.6 over that 9-month course. Did anyone notice how many times the gun failed to reload during that demo?
Yep, I did see
There was
that. I
like
was
a
like, oh,
delay.
reload bug. Oh,
No,
reload bug.
it's the reload bug, and I didn't know if that's server based or client based. And if that was done on a computer based client, that means the client is causing that issue, which is fun, not the server. So all those times your gun fails to reload is actually nothing to do with the server. It's just the game being a shit. I was gonna say fuck it, shit cunt.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's spreading already. Oh, no. What have we done?
Yeah, but yeah, with that demo, like a lot of stuff, if you notice the AI slides, certain things are glitchy. Like if they were gonna cheat it, they wouldn't have those issues.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm talking about how they turned off, like you were saying, they only had it on friendly. I could do exactly what he did in the current build of Star Citizen with how the AI currently detects information and
Yeah.
But it
Even
was
on-
more of a showing of other stuff, right? Not really
Well,
the actual gun shooting gameplay,
yeah,
right?
like I think the primary. Well, okay, sorry. I guess
let's
supposed to
get off.
probably wait.
Let's wait for that one.
Sorry.
Okay. So the good. I kind of skipped that. The good was the stuff they showed was extremely well done. I do like how they went from concept base to concept to game.
Mhm.
They should have done that. Each individual area, they should have gone, here's what it looks like, here's how we got there, here's how it looks like, here's how we got there. Because the gore of that Twitch chat was horrible. I was called fat 4 times during that.
Yeah. It's a thick armor. What are you gonna say? I've seen that armor. It adds it. The joke about how it adds pounds. It does add pounds, baby. That thing is thick.
Yeah, but
What do you mean in game it doesn't?
Yeah, except in the game. Yeah.
I legitimately passed out when Toby Zervik popped up on screen. The problem is I've been up for 38 hours now, so my attention span is diminishing.
So what was it? So your negatives was like a lot of the stuff in the game still looks buggy.
So no, that's my positive because that means it's true. That means the issues they are currently having isn't just a server-based issue, and they haven't gone around to fixing that in the dev branch of the build. So that's why you haven't seen it. The actual
fix it.
Okay.
Yeah, the actual. Everyone's saying I'm low in chat, but I don't know. The actual problems I have with the actual stream is the fact that it could have been. You could have shown the same information more coherently. Like a lot of the information was just done in the wrong order and the wrong like they could have done it as in a bit more streamlined. Like I love how you were talking about the sound before, how they should have just shown it rather than just explain it. But yeah, that's my negative. It's just the information is good. It's just not conveyed coherently.
Try boosting your audio, by the way, because it's apparently. I think you're just tired, so it's like your voice is dying.
It is currently 1 a.m. and people are
Yeah.
asleep.
Yeah, try boosting your audio a little bit. You know, just to compensate. It should be fine.
How was that?
A little more.
It's gonna peek me out again. Now?
No, you're not peaking. You're good. It's good, solid.
Okay.
Yeah. You're not peaking. It doesn't do the warble thing, so it's good. All right, cool. Chig, goods and bads. Star Citizen or that.
Goods. Well, Pirate Tree looks beautiful, and it gets me that earthly vibe, which I think a lot of citizens would really enjoy. You know, it's what we get with microtech kind of. You know, like go there, you can
Yeah.
recognize, you know, the same vibe. Like it's something you can relate to in real life, right?
Yeah, it feels like a terrestrial planet as opposed to like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The atmosphere seems fine. Like, you know, the temperature is like -5 Celsius, which is bearable in, you know. Okay, so when it comes to ships, for those who don't know, and a lot of people here don't, I've spent most of my life on board cruise ships. And for me, unlike majority, I would say the spaceships that we get in Star Citizen, I connect them more to like ships and submarines than like aircraft, you know. And one of the issues I have is like the bridge is always up front, like you know, at the very front of the ship, except for the few ships that we have, which I don't really enjoy very much. And 400i, I was hoping for a ship of that size and that doesn't have a bridge at front. And this was like an instant buy for me. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it's going to look like that. Actually, that when it leaked, I literally showed people a yacht that looks like that in real life. It's almost the same. So I'm kind of surprised with the
When it
design.
leaked, I lost my shit. I was like, that's fucking
Yeah.
stupid. But anyways.
But yeah, I did like it. I think the whole ship talk was amazing. From from the audio perspective. Now the rest of it was not too good for me. I'll just point out a few things that really I had issues with. First of all, edit and production was horrible. I don't know if people noticed that, but the cuts are gross. I don't know. It was pre-recorded. If it was live, I would understand, but it was pre-recorded. All these cuts into like their faces, like these
yeah.
guys
Sorry,
are not right. They're not
Yeah.
professional casters. They're just developers. Why do you cut so close? The cuts make no sense. Everyone is reading their stuff, so just you know, I can go so long on this because that's like my you know, where I work and whatnot. So it's just don't lie. Like let them show that they're reading from something because they're pretending that the how should they look if they're not reading and all that. So I do not like that.
Well, I will say in the defense, I'm sure they're reading from a script because they're not professional broadcasters, so they're reading from a script they wrote that they needed to like see it, you know. But
I know,
I know,
but like, why would you like even fake that when you have a broadcaster? Sorry, a developer, not the broadcaster. It's okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think it was very unnatural, and it is what it is. Also, I mean, it's something that's supposed to be live, so I don't want to like bash him too much, but I think it could have been like much more natural. When it comes to panels, though, I don't know, man. Like for me, listening to this, I'm an audio person. I really like sound. The audio panel, I was very disappointed. It was very long and draggy.
Yeah.
And they were not talking about audio. They were talking about the software
tool,
that helps. The tool that helps audio engineers do, you know, connect things. Not really audio. We barely heard any sounds. The rest of it, I don't know, guys. This is going to trigger a lot of people, but like the 20Z panel, for me, nothing new. It was all recycled. And Tony, again, technical stuff where he keeps grabbing his shirt and there's the microphone there. It's like
leave your mic
all the
alone,
time.
Tony. Leave your mic alone.
It's like, okay. I mean, it's post-production. If this was live, by the way, I understand these things. Like, again, these guys are not professional casters. It's perfectly fine. But this went through post-production. You know, come on, we're talking about a project with a lot of money. You know what? A lot of money was invested into what you guys have seen yesterday. This was not a cheap thing.
Mm-mm.
And I don't think it was done on a level where I expect CIG to do it. I'm sorry, but it just, didn't hit. Yeah, the rest of the stuff, I'm gonna end it here. Most of it was just recycled for me. And a lot of people bored me because I've been only following since 3.7. That
Mhm.
this is not really for people who are following. You know how we are.
Yeah.
Like if you're
We
a content creator,
follow.
follow, yeah, week to week,
Yeah.
right? You know everything. So there's a lot of recycled stuff, and I was prepared for that kind of. But yeah, I was kind of expecting more dates. I felt like a little bit of a slap in the face when Jared said, I mean, when Chris Roberts says it's ready when it's ready, it's one thing. But when we are all expecting something from Citizencon and Jared comes, who I respect Jared and love his humor and everything. But when he tells me, it will happen when it happens, I just feel like a huge like slap in the face as a backer. I don't know. I'm gonna stop there.
Okay. Masso, goods and bads.
Goods. The Banu Merchantman, I loved the kind of like reconcepts and stuff like that. I enjoyed that. The server meshing panel I actually enjoyed because I feel like it was really good at describing the actual technical uh, I don't know, intricacies behind the technology in more detail than we've heard previously. So I appreciated kind of how they broke that down, and it was kind of encouraging for me because it really demonstrated that like they've got server meshing figured out. It's just a question of building it at this point. But as far as the bad goes, I'm basically gonna echo a lot of what Chegg said in that I don't really I felt like this CitizenCon wasn't for me.
Mhm.
I feel like this was for newer backers because like a lot of, in fact, actually, I think pretty much everything besides the technicals of on the server meshing panel, I already knew. And to kind of like to go further into kind of what I thought was bad, I didn't expect dates from CitizenCon because they've been burned really hard with the dates before.
Mhm.
But it just like after seeing what they were showing to me, it was like, okay, well, this game is still a minimum, minimum 2 years, 2 years out, and I'm just kind of like, it's going into 2022. I've been following this game since 2012, and okay, it's time for me to step back and like I'll just go play other games and check back in maybe in next year or in a couple years because I'm just kind of burnt. I'm just kind of burnt out.
Can I ask a question? Like just
Sure.
a flash question. What do you guys think when will Star Citizen be released? I think 10
Released?
to 20 years. Yeah.
I would say you'll
I don't
see
think 20.
I don't think the game's ever going to be. I don't think the
me and
game.
Paul,
Go ahead.
Paul, remember when we were sitting next to each other during 2019 and Chris Phillips comes out, big on the screen, what is release? And me and you just go, oh, God.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
they're ever
There
going
needs to be a release. I don't
never
agree
going to.
with that because
There's never
Sorry,
going
go
to be
for it.
released. There never's going to be released. Here's the thing: is
I mean,
WoW
New World
released?
is released. Yes,
Is-
World of Warcraft is released. There's a date of release, Paul.
Okay,
And
so if
that's what I'm asking.
they said it was released tomorrow, would it be released?
Yeah, and then you
Okay.
have to hold them accountable as not an alpha project anymore. This is what I'm talking about. Like, when will it be released?
Not
Of
an
course,
alpha.
This is a
You're saying
live.
Yeah,
you're
it's
asking
not
when
an
is you're asking when is it going to be not an alpha? Not when it's going to be released, but
I'm
when it's
asking
not
when
an
it's
alpha.
not in alpha, not in beta, not in early access, but people can buy it and play the game, and they're still working on it, just like they still work on World of Warcraft. Just that they're gonna work on every other MMO for like tens of years after. But
Yeah.
there is a release date, and I think,
You're
that's
never going
what
to
I'm
have
here
that.
for,
You're never going to
You're
have
never
that.
gonna have that.
Never
Tell
gonna
me
have that.
another game that's not gonna have that.
I don't know.
Warframe.
Warframe's one of those.
Warframe is
Yeah.
It's out of the big games, it's only Warframe, man.
Yeah.
It's only Warframe.
I mean,
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Is that a bad thing? If that's a bad thing,
For me,
then
it's a really bad thing.
I don't think
I'd
so.
rather that than Anthem again. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, would you like Cyberpunk's going to take years to get fixed and fully operational? Was it worth Cyberpunk releasing in the state it was in?
I'm not saying push it early. I don't think there's anything.
That's
wrong
what you're
if they drag it
saying.
for-
Which what you're arguing. You're saying that there
don't
needs to
flip
be.
my words. Wait,
What
wait.
you're
No.
saying. Let's
explain
pause
myself.
it. Let me pause
Let
it for a
me-
moment. Let me
Let me
pause it for a
explain
moment.
myself,
Check,
please,
check.
because you're putting me on
Okay.
a poster.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Let's not laugh at each other. Come on, we all have
No,
opinions.
I'm not
disrespectful,
laughing at
okay.
you. I'm laughing
Okay,
at Paul.
sorry.
Go ahead.
But what I'm saying is, I think realistically, they're going to take 10 or more years to release the game. I don't see it as a bad thing at all. I would rather have it cooked properly and released. I don't want another Cyberpunk. What I'm saying, I'm asking you, what do you think? When will this happen? And I don't want them to rush. If it's in 20 years, it's in 20 years. I'm okay with it. Am I interested in playing a game in 20 years? Not really. But is it necessarily a bad thing? No, they need to take the time because they're doing something that no one has ever done before. In my head, that's the reality of it.
I
And
don't
not
think it's going to
years
be.
that we keep getting. Sorry.
I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to be 20 years. I don't think it's going to be 10 years. And we also have to understand what is release. As seriously weird as that it's going to sound, what is your definition of release?
What do you mean? When
Like,
you can
what
buy
do
the
you-
game,
You can buy the game now.
you know.
But
you
what I
can.
mean, like,
But
okay.
Nazaris just talked about this, and I agree with him. You're not buying anything. You are backing the project. You're backing the project. All the ships that you're getting, that's just,
Okay.
them giving
Check.
you something to play with.
Check. Here's a question for you, right?
Yeah.
Would you consider the game released when every single game loop has a full loop in system and has a decent depth to it? Is that
Not
what
every
you're
single one.
No. I can actually clarify this because this is something that Chegg and I have gone head to head on quite a few times on our show, and I do kind of agree in this particular sense. Like when a game is considered early access or alpha or beta, it does afford a game company some leeway to basically wash their hand, to not take responsibility for certain aspects of the game because they can just point to the beta or early access, right? So I think like the main thing is like if Star Citizen gets to a point where they're saying, the game is the game now, they have to kind of like they have to assume a level of responsibility for the state of the game. And more we're seeing game companies not do that because again, it affords them the ability to keep avoid
Like
kind
a
of
wall,
like
a shield.
Okay. But
Yeah.
all right. Let's drop all of this semantics, okay? Because this seems like a lot of sniping for the sake of sniping. That I'm upset about the game and I'm going to snipe at it and try to make it
It's
look
really
bad.
not that, man.
I know, but you know what I'm trying to say is like I've heard this kind of arguments before. So let's drop all the semantics.
I'll agree that it is kind of semantics, yeah.
What is the minimal viable product that you think, like when Star Citizen's released 1.0 version 1, what does it look like? Tell me that, and then I'll tell you.
Like,
Then I'll
I'm okay
tell
with
you.
like I think majority would be okay with like I don't know 5 planets, couple of game loops, and then I'm okay with them like adding, you can have expansions,
4.0 with multiple
like later on.
planets.
Do you want
is what
so
you
you want like 4.0 with some game loops and more planets?
If
more systems.
those loops that we have in are fleshed out and playable, if I'm not 30K'ing and
mining,
stuff like
yeah,
that, then
like mining right now, like a fleshed out to the degree that mining is right now.
sure, yeah.
Okay,
Because mining is actually really good
4
if you
years.
don't have
Yeah,
other things like smashing it from the side, right?
years,
Like
yeah.
let's be honest, like
4
it's
years.
not a bad game loop.
That's
yeah,
4 years.
that's
And
what I
I
think.
think that's okay. Yeah.
I don't.
I
And I
think
also
10, but I would take 4. Yeah.
I don't think it's. I don't think they'll release it 1.0 though. That's going to be beta. I think what CIG will do is they'll release it into beta, and then they'll do a soft launch where it's effectively out, and they're not going to really. They might when they reach that 100 systems mark, there'll be a big hullabaloo like it's released, and people will be like, "Oh, well, it's been in development for 40 years or whatever." But it's
I don't even care about
yeah, but I mean,
those people saying, "Oh, it's too long in development." It's fine. It's just if you like, it's the reality of a huge project like this. I'm not crazy, and I don't think this is a scam or anything like that. Far from it. If now the problem is we all have our lives and age, and at some point, I mean, we all are aware of that.
Yeah.
If they keep telling you 2 years, but in reality it's going to be like 20 years altogether, which is again a fine timeline for a game like this to come out. Am I interested in playing this game when I'm like 60? I don't know, maybe, but from this perspective, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't really
Yeah.
think I am. That's
Well, this
all.
kind of like back to kind of where I was, my last statement in the bads there about just kind of feeling kind of burnt. Like that's basically it, right? Like if me in 2016 or whatever would have known that in 2022, essentially, I'm still waiting for server meshing and more than 50 players in a server. I
wouldn't have
don't
bought
know. Like I wouldn't. I would have been. I probably would have been. Like I don't know if I would have been following this closely.
Yeah.
So like and I think that the thing for me is like I've been hearing server meshing next year, server meshing next year, server meshing next year for God, I don't even know now. Probably since 2016. And that like to be clear, I don't really. I'm not saying like server meshing should have been
Mhm.
out by now. Like I get it. It's a huge technical achievement, and there are a bunch of really smart people who are working on it. And I get that it takes time. It's just from that player perspective, or from a well, whatever. I guess I could
Mhm.
consider myself a content creator's perspective. It's
Now,
Oh, yeah.
you can, yeah.
it's wearying, man. Like I'm just tired
I think
of constantly thinking next year, maybe next
Yeah.
year.
I will say this. I stopped getting burned out by Star Citizen when I started thinking about am I having fun with the game right now? And what fun can I have with the game right now? And what is in the next patch that I can have fun with? If you're focusing on long distance goals, if you're like, oh, I can't wait to have a fleet battle with 4,000 people, you're insane. You're just setting yourself up for punishment, because that may not even ever happen the way you think it's going to happen.
Sure.
Because that tech's so far in the future that I don't even know if I'm going to be alive in the 2, 3, 4, whatever many years it's going to take.
Yeah.
That's
No,
kind
I
of
agree
it,
with
right? Like at this point, I've been okay, we've had some additions to Star Citizen gameplay and stuff like that, but for the most part, the core gameplay is pretty similar to what we were playing back in 3.0.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so that's kind of it for me. It's like with the game in the state that it's in right now, especially with the performance degraded to a point where it's less playable than it was, for example, in 3.8. I'm I'm not having fun in the game anymore.
Yeah.
So it's time for me to like just go play other games and maybe even like tone down how much I follow, Star Citizen, because I'm just kind of burnt. I'm not having fun anymore.
I think I know Mike will say this a lot, that whenever someone brings up like, oh, you need to take a break, Mike's like, that's super toxic, because it is.
It kind of is,
It is.
yeah.
It's kind of toxic.
If you're a
toxic.
content creator, it's crazy toxic, but people don't get it.
Yeah.
Like you can't just switch the game. Okay.
No.
Can I call out someone, like not
Sure.
in a bad way?
Sure.
And a lot of people here know. I just saw this yesterday, and I posted a screenshot of this on my Discord. This is experience that I've had. I used to be a relatively big streamer of Elder Scrolls Online. Yesterday, I saw Cutlet playing New World for 10 people after 6 hours of stream. This is a guy who is banking 200 viewers on Star Citizen. You can't just switch the game. It doesn't work. I'm a partnered streamer, and you can see me now streaming for 15 people, and I'm okay with. I have a beautiful community, and I full-time stream with 15 average viewers. Okay, it pays for my life and everything, but switching the game is not like
It's
just
not
if you're
enough,
just playing the game, then you can just switch it. Why not? But if I've streamed Star Citizen for a year and a half exclusively. It's rough, man. Like you can't just switch.
You can't just step back. But I mean, in this case, like I mean, I'm not in a position where I'm trying to be a full-time streamer, you know, like we do a podcast, and, you know, and so it's, and now that we're kind of like reducing our schedule, I think I'm in a position where I can step back. But you're right, like it's not an option for most content creators. And so to say, well, you should just go play another game, you know, well,
Yeah.
it is kind of toxic. It is kind of a toxic thing to say, especially when you're saying it to a content creator who is living off of that content.
I just want to say it's
basically.
important for us content creators to also, and we do that. Mike does it all the time. You do it, Paul, as well.
Yeah.
We do it, that to educate people, because it doesn't come from a bad state. Like it's not a bad idea. It's like they're like, why are you doing this to yourself? Go play something else. Be happy. And I don't think majority of these people are trying to be toxic. However, it does come out as that
Well,
when
some are.
you're targeted. Well, some are, yeah, but there's rotten apples in every right basket. So
Are we getting off topic? We're not getting off topic.
We are. Sorry, Paul.
Well,
Sorry, Paul.
it's Massocast. It's Masso in the Weeds cast. If you haven't seen a Massocast podcast, this is what happens.
Yeah, precisely. But whatever, we got 24 hours to fill here, Paul. So,
my point being, the reason why I was saying that, like this kind of toxic, is that sometimes I say, when you say, "Oh, take a break," that can be toxic. At the same time, I can also understand the whole sitting down and going, "I am not happy with this current game because I just do not like it. I need to find something else to do," and that's fine too. Like, and that's it's important is to be self-aware, because I think there's a lot of problems in the community at times where people will get super close to the game.
Yeah.
And then you
get that
a lot
cynicism.
of hopes and dreams. Yeah. And
well, you gotta pull the trigger at some point. If it's, you know, I mean, I'm going through a lot of mental issues, which we're not gonna touch here, but streaming is part of it, you know, like, so you gotta be smart about your health as well, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it you know, one side will suffer. Sorry about sidetracking.
It's
That
okay.
was not my idea.
No, whatever.
Let me finish. Or Masso, did you finish with your?
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. Well, so there you go. There's your salt, and
you haven't answered the question. What was the question, Massacre? Answer the question.
What was your like? What did you like and what did you dislike about? No, Cheng.
When will it be released?
When will it be released?
Yes.
When do you think it will be released? With that statement.
Well, I'm kind of like I said. I mean, for me, release doesn't. I don't really hold to the like semantic version of released. So like for me, if the game is MVP, kind of like what you guys were saying. So I think 2 years to a point where we, you know, I think at that point, if we aren't playing in more of a universe, I think there's bigger problems to worry about. But I think as far as like MVP kind of beta level, like 3-4 years. Yeah.
I'm looking at Alex and I'm trying to figure out, like, which Raptor are you talking about? Are you talking about I'm sorry, I'm looking at chat. I'm blanking on this.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Because like I know a Raptor who plays Star Citizen who does Arma content, who I watch a lot, who's an awesome creator, and I didn't know he did Star Citizen content until after I started watching his Arma content. So I was like, "Are you talking about him?" I was like, "Yeah, of course he is." He also is part of a huge org and stuff like that. It's a little different. Those sorts of things.
I can clarify my 10-year stake just quickly, because I started playing in 3.7. 3.7, 3.8, basically just after that CitCon back then. I did not catch it. Like, I watched it, but so that's after that we got persistence, and for me that was like the most important thing at the time, because honeymoon period. I just wanted to, you know, stack some money and buy some ships. And to be honest, in these 2 years, like a lot of little things have happened, and it's obviously they're progressing through the project. But not the big things have not happened since then. And the pace in the last 2 years, of course, there was the whole pandemic and everything. But the pace that things have been happening in the last 2 years, as all of us are, I'm sure, experienced gamers, it just feels like it's gonna take a lot of time for them to achieve their goals, and for whatever, you know, reason.
Well, and like obviously, like the counter to that is that, you know, like it is possible to see an increase in development speed if, for example, they get their major tech bottlenecks out of the way. I will say that with the caveats of, that is definitely something, a narrative that we've been hearing for, let me see, what's the first one that I can remember? OCS, I think. Oh, just after
Yeah, sure.
OCS, things will speed up. Oh, after server-side OCS, oh, things will speed up. So like I recognize that there is like another side to that as well, but yeah.
Okay, let's
Like
move
it is
on to.
possible that we see an exponential increase in development speed if they do manage to hammer out some major bottlenecks.
I'll go on with my sort of take on Citizencon goods and bads. Just going to finish that discussion off, and then we'll have a small discussion, then move into the questions because I kind of talked a little bit. I think that it was exactly as I expected it. It was an 8-hour-long ISC.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
what it was.
that's a pretty good summary. Yeah.
Was it?
And
To me, it felt more like SCL. To be fair.
maybe a
Oh, in
mix of
some
both
cases,
of them.
Yeah,
Mix
mix
of
of
both
both.
of them.
Yeah.
So it was like an 8-hour ISC. I think the problem wasn't, and I know a lot of people say, oh, it was bad. There was lots of bads part of it. I think the problem was that it was just poorly paced. There are some problems in there where like the audio panel was the biggest letdown.
Times.
So he came in.
Yeah.
I only mentioned it once as an example. Hi, Mike. So I think the overall goods were, there's plenty of stuff in there that was good. That was solid. I like the gameplay. I like the more like the rougher edges of some of those the gameplay stuff. Mm-hmm. But the problem I had had to do with a lot of tell not show, which doesn't work well with Star Citizen community.
Yeah. Especially
we don't like
at
reading.
this state.
Yeah.
Especially at this state in the game, like in 2021. Yeah.
And it was a lot of there's a lot of tell not show, and there was a lot of super dry content towards the end. Yeah. So it was like all front loaded with stuff that was interesting, and then everything after like the panel, the planetary tech stuff was just like you need to know what the fuck they're talking about.
They were banking on Tony Z, right?
But yeah, they were banking on Tony Z, and then they wasted Tony Z. They spent an hour of theory crafting with Tony Z, which is like nobody cares about that.
Tony Z.
Yeah. Though honestly, I expected that when I saw Stream of Thought with Tony Z. I was like, oh, I know exactly what this is going to be. This is basically just kind of like, letting him off the leash to go theory craft a bunch, and we're not really going to see much, except for obviously the Quanta update at the end, but which showed some further development, but still was basically just stuff we'd already seen.
I just want to say, Paul, what you're saying, it was so funny. Like I woke up and I saw Paul John's tweet, and he was literally saying that he was like, "We worked so hard on these pictures and everything, and why were we so much in the frame?" Like like literally the same thing. Like it's them as well. I think someone did a little oopsie in the edit or production.
Yeah,
but it is what it is, right?
It felt like there was some, like, it felt like it was an ad hoc attempt. And again, I don't know. It just no show, no tell. It needs more show, less tell. Yeah.
I think that's actually a good way to summarize it. Actually, if you're paying attention to CIG and their release schedules, that they're moving further and further away from dates. So it's like, so obviously we couldn't really expect dates from it, but it would have been nice to see more, like you were saying, like to actually see more of where these pieces of tech are, or where the game is, instead of just again another panel that just, like you said, is what did you say? Say not see, or sorry, it's
show not tell.
Show not tell. Yeah.
But when do you expect dates, guys? Because you have more experience than me, right? I'm green here.
I don't expect dates anymore. I just really don't like.
Never.
They're gonna rely on their their release view and their progress tracker
Progress
from this
tracker,
point on, which honestly is probably the best way to do it.
Is it good
just-
for new backers though? Like, do you think new backers like me or even newer will be okay with never hearing any dates?
You
Well, you
should
won't-
see what used to happen with dates back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
The
got
problem
a
about
date
dates.
to-
Here's the thing. CIG can't hit dates.
Yeah, I understand.
They
that.
just can't. It's
Yeah.
not possible for them to hit dates. It doesn't
We've
matter.
had dates for the gameplay that hasn't popped up in years.
Yeah, but like I feel like we went from one end to the other. Like they were throwing dates all over the place,
Well,
and
except for-
they were letting Chris, go out and say hi. Next
Yeah.
year we're gonna have or whatever.
Mhm.
Well,
But,
but
now
they
we're
don't
not
need
getting
to.
anything.
Yeah,
Like
well,
I
no,
was expecting a date
see-
from Citizencon for something or a
See, I
release,
disagree with
or
that.
something.
I disagree with that. Like, why would they do that? That's the whole point of the progress tracker. If you want to know,
Not everyone is
when
following progress tracker, man. There
Yeah,
are
but-
people who are paying for this project who don't wanna. That's why they wait for
Okay.
Citizencon for update, and you don't get any updates. It's
we
kind
got
of
an update.
we got
Which
we
one?
got the updates,
we
but
know what's
again,
coming out in IE.
Yeah.
Chip sales.
Yeah.
but that's the thing though. Like, I don't think it's unreasonable to, in a game that is in development, to say, the information is there. If you want dates, go look for it. Because it's there. Honestly, like, and especially the more I get familiar with the progress tracker, it's easy. It's got a search field. If you want to
Yeah,
know the
because you
dates of
wanna do
something,
it,
just type
though.
it in. There you go.
I'd
And
also.
I agree with you. Sorry, go Paul. Sorry.
I was gonna say like the takeaway I would have, again, I think is the reason why I think there's a lot of shock on like how CitizenCon was bad. I don't think it was bad. I
don't think it was bad.
I think it was maybe it was because it was what I was expecting, but I think it was better than 2016, and I was at 2016. That was a train wreck. It was bad.
Yeah.
You think Tony Z's theory crafting for an hour was bad? They had an entire presentation on Spectrum.
Yeah.
Oh, but you could choose. That was different, right? Like here you
Yeah.
were stuck.
No,
But
that-
and
No,
that's
one-
one-
no,
stream.
not
No,
not
no,
not in 2016.
Oh,
You were
couldn't?
stuck.
Okay.
You were
I
stuck.
don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Um,
think, what was it, 2018 when they did the two
2018 had the
two
two rooms.
two stages?
and it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
Considering what they did with what they had and what they did, it wasn't bad. I think that if they were to do this again, and I don't think they'll ever do it again, they need to focus more on showing the pretty and describing less. Like I've said
Or at least
before,
organizing it.
slightly differently too.
Maybe they
because
feel like people don't trust their showing anymore that much.
But it's much easier to trust showing than them just telling in a panel. Like,
It is.
that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why I was I don't know, maybe disappointed with what they did for the Tony Z panel, is because, like, we've been hearing Tony Z theory crafting for years and years now. Like, the one thing that made the Tony Z panel at 2019 so good was that it was the first time we actually saw what he
Mhm.
was working on, and saw it running, and like began to kind of like get a real idea that it was that it was something that was actually starting to materialize, instead of just Tony Z, theory crafting kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, but now like they got really good feedback from that, which for a good reason. And now we're gonna like now I feel like when we hear Tony Z, I'm sorry, but it just feels like it's like rinse repeat. Or
Yeah, well, and like
know?
I feel that too, but also at the same time, I get it. Like, at this point, at this stage in the game, they're like nose to the grindstone, so to speak, and they're just like hammering it out. And like Paul said, like, it's not sexy. It's just game dev and waiting at this point, which
Yeah.
it doesn't make for good content, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
and I agree with that, and I'd be okay, but it does not sell the product. That like I
Yeah,
like that
that's
raw,
true.
like
Well,
tell
here's
me
the-
that,
here's
tell
the
me that,
question.
but you can't.
Like, I think that a lot of what we saw in that mission demo, I'm hearing people saying that was fake. It wasn't faked. There's just
I
no
don't
reason for
know.
them to have faked it. I like, was it crafted just for CitizenCon?
Oh yes,
Probably,
100%. That's how
but
they
it-
do it.
Yeah, but it was we also saw from the tools, like the bespoke building tools the tools they're using to build like outposts. We know that they used the tools that they had on hand to build it. It wasn't like they built a tool, they built these by hand just for these. It was like
what you can tell
using
was fake.
the tools that they had.
Was very simple. They're the same thing they did with the Sandworm demo. Is scripted systems on the way down, so those lightnings and clouds were designed as a placement system. That wasn't the tactful lightning. That was just them placing it there. Some stuff like that's fake, but all the animations, the AI, the way if you watch when he actually engages in combat, and the AI starts engaging with him, that wasn't the AI actually not doing it. That was the AI doing pathing. You could tell that's proper AI pathing trying to do.
I'm gonna be a douche and say that you guys don't know that. That's all I'm gonna say, because they could have made it more believable.
Yeah, but at the same
because,
time,
it's a tinfoil hat. But
I will be another douche. Everyone who's saying it's fake also don't know that.
yeah. No,
But,
you're not being a douche. That's
So
true. I agree with that 100%.
So like if that's the way you're gonna take it, then those
That's
people
exactly
don't know
what I
that
said.
either.
I said I don't know. I don't know, because
No,
I can't really trust them fully because of the stealth mission of the last one. Why did they have any reason to fake that? I don't think they had the reason, but they did it.
Yeah, that was
the 2019
2019.
one? Yeah.
2019 was a lot of their LARPing stuff. They've been doing that. They did that in the last couple of missions.
Nah,
It was more
that's
of
all I have, man.
Well, that AI control ship was real. I can tell you that.
Yeah. That was actually. Sorry.
I'm just going to go on this because people in chat are deciding that Star Citizen is the worst game ever, and everything is fake.
Not.
Which I hear a lot from folks, and there's a couple of very regular folks who used to comment on my stuff all the time about this sort of thing in the chat. And I consistently have a problem with people who come out and be like, "Oh, everything's fake. CIG's lying to you. They just want to make money." Then why do you follow the project?
Exactly, because they have fun.
Dude,
I just want to say
there are more things to do in life. In life, there's so many better games out there. God damn, y'all.
Before we started, I clarified immediately that I love Star Citizen. I hope it succeeds. It might not be a place for me right now or when it comes out or whatever, but I am invested in it, and I would never like pull money out of it or try, even if you could or anything like that. I would never go and tell people don't do it. I'm passionate about this project for sure, and I could go and talk for hours, which we do on our podcast about like what we really like about the game. It's not even a question. It's just something happened yesterday that I did not like, and I think that's also okay. Like two different perspectives. For those who think that I just hate the game, I really don't. I really don't.
No, it's just one of those. I'm just my point is because there's a lot of people out there who are like trolling or those sorts of like oh yeah, I'm just gonna have fun, and like I'm just sitting here going, there is so much there are so much more things out there you could be doing than following this project. And I don't want to have to go through and just start banning people. I might, just because I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of that opinion. I'm here to play a game. I'm here to see the development happen. And I feel like a lot of times I have to sit here and argue with people about stuff that they already made up their minds with. So it's like, why are you even here? You're just here to argue? Go argue politics somewhere else. That shit actually matters. Not a fucking video game. But
that's where I was like, we touched on a little bit earlier, like the concept of people who basically get to a point where their outlook with Star Citizen goes from critical to cynical.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those people don't even play the game.
Yeah,
but I agree with you, Paul, so much. We are at the point where we're talking about if we're getting kind of negative, and should we even continue doing our podcast because of, honestly, respect to the studio and the game and people who are excited about it. Because if I'm gonna be negative all the time, then maybe it's not good for, you know what I mean? It's the reality of it. And it happens. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I was going to say about it being fake and it because of the AI and stuff. I've probably been with AI and FPS more than most people besides QA. and they behaved correctly to what I've seen in the game.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, that's a positive that I forgot to say that I thought was cool was seeing their planetary AI navigation mesh working
Yes.
with their NPCs. So you actually saw the NPCs moving around outside and stuff like that. And it sounds stupid because it's such a basic thing, but like but
Well,
just having the ability to do that will actually kind of it actually unlocks quite a bit of content as far as like what they have the options of putting in, like if all of a sudden AI can be roaming across, the surface of a planet or moon, that does open up quite a few options for fauna, for, different kind of more kind of planetary based missions as opposed to just bunker missions,
Mhm.
et cetera, et cetera.
I will say though that area was a flattened surface with a map placed on top of it. So doing
Oh,
pathing
so
on
you don't
that.
think it was fully spherical, like the full
No,
spherical navigation mesh?
no, because it would be that whole map would be like a mini mission level. The way
Oh,
they can
okay.
do their mapping system is very similar to essentially. That's why like Star Marine
Okay, well, I
is not
take it
actually
back
based on a.
then. Thanks, Diablos.
Well, no. But what I mean is that like doing AI for fauna, you just have to put it in an area and then have that area set as a base. It's yeah. Before I get into bloody tech on nav meshing, because some games, depending on what they use for the AI map meshing, because sometimes they can do it because they're already putting it in for their spaceships. So the spaceships can detect asteroids which are not placed; they're randomly procedural. So it depends on how they do it. But
Mm.
that type of mission could be very well just nav meshed.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that did actually seem like something that was like, potentially something that you would see sooner rather than later, which I did kind of appreciate about it. Even though, as far as the mission itself goes, it's basically just like a Fallout 3 level mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like they have been doing AI for auto generation of pathing for the space stuff. It's not hard to
Yeah.
implement that for ground nav meshing
I
because
thought it was something specifically because the spherical kind of coordinates were difficult for on foot AI pathing, but
that's why they flattened the area. That's what they
yeah.
said they couldn't do it in the first place because they couldn't have a flattened terrain system. But as soon as they can flatten the terrain, they just use that. They use a quad. They're essentially using a. They set that area up as its own zone, as its own container, its own object container, and then do the nav meshing on that square. So it's a cube inside a cube inside a cube. So that's how they do the nav meshing. They don't do it on the spherical system.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. I think we've effectively gone over way too much and not enough.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the questions and answer session stuff. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to use the restroom, grab something to drink. If y'all need to use the restroom, feel free to do so. We'll be right back, everybody. I'm going to keep the audio going and everything else like that, though. So, all right, we'll be right back. All
We
right.
got through one
I'm gonna go to the
question.
bathroom.